and we are live with another episode of Sci-Fi Power Hour-ish. And
Hello.
today we're going to be talking about, we're going to be doing a spoiler-tastic, excuse me, review.
Black Panther.
Yeah, so if you haven't watched it, why have you not watched it? And if you have watched it, well, enjoy.
Right.
Enjoy the footage. So here we go. Black Panther review. I'm joined by Pinky Don.
Hello.
So what are your overall thoughts? And now we can get spoiler-tastic. What are your overall thoughts about Black Panther?
Well, as I said before, I really enjoy the movie full price, to be exact, in terms of ratings. I also like how the movie addresses the whole issue of Wakanda being isolated from the rest of the world, and then Black Panther learns the consequences of being isolated, of having his country isolated, and decides to open doors to Wakanda to the rest of the world during the mid-credits scene.
I think it was a wonderful film. Obviously. And I think that, basically, you understand so much more about the film when you understand the context in which all of it is being placed. Like, people are like, why is Wakanda hiding? Why do they hide themselves from the rest of the world? It's like, well, okay, they're sitting on, arguably, Wakanda is the richest nation in the Marvel universe on Earth. It's the richest nation on Earth. Well, let's look at since the Marvel universe is basically a derivative of our universe. Let's look at what Europeans did to the rest of Africa.
They try to colonize it as well as being the market for slave trading.
Well, that's a nice way to put it. I was gonna say Europeans came in, stole all the shit, took everything that wasn't nailed down, including the people, and then enriched themselves at the expense of the African countries and nations. So yeah, there's a reason. Like, why are you hiding? Because we don't want to be like the motherfuckers. Shit. Yeah. And there's even a line in the film by Claw, the secondary bad guy. He's like, "You savages knew what to do with it." It's like, first of all, it's their shit. You don't get to make those decisions.
And I just had an argument with someone on Discus who thinks that Claw was the better character than Killmonger.
I will say that Claw was more fun to watch on screen. Every time you saw Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger, you always felt like it was always like, okay, this motherfucker's about to go off on somebody. This is not a very good person. And like you find out why he is the way he is, and you kind of understand where he's coming from. But I mean, he shoots his girlfriend in the face. She potentially killed someone for him. He's like, "I'm sorry, fuck you, play out." I mean, that's kind of a dick move.
And also, my dad told me that there's a history behind Oakland, California, which is one of the scenes in the movie. Say, there's actually a group of the Black Panthers reside in Oakland, California, which is supposedly a historical moment over there.
Yeah, the Black Panthers. Their headquarters used to be in Oakland, California. And there's a whole bunch of Black history behind it, and the riots, and how the police basically invented the drive-by because they went to the Black Panther headquarters and shot it up. With no evidence, by the way. They didn't go there to arrest anyone. They just shot it up. So I mean, it's kind of, you know, the history of race relations in America is rife with things where it's like, look, I don't like Eric Killmonger's methods, but his reasoning behind it, I can kind of understand why he would be a little perturbed. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed.
Yeah, overall, you enjoyed the movie for what from beginning to end. Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah, I liked how everything had a payoff. Like everything that was set up in the first act and second act had a payoff in the third act.
Right.
Which is something that so many superhero films fail at. Even Marvel films have issues where it's like something's been set up and you have no idea where it came from. Like it comes completely out of left field. It's like, this character magically appeared. And I think part of the strength of that is that there are very few greater MCU ties in Black Panther. Not directly. There's a lot of indirect stuff, but not direct stuff, which
right. They even
weigh it down.
They even reuse footage from Civil War because the recap.
Yeah. And they're like, this takes place a week after the events of Civil War. So basically, not that much time has passed.
Right. And so now that Wakanda has opened their doors to the world, wonder if the vibranium technology is going to be used against Thanos for the upcoming Infinity War.
Well, yeah, they're definitely going to use. They're definitely going to use by. Here's a little bit of comic information for those who may be listening, but believe it or not, in the comics, most of the technology that's used by other superhero teams, like the Fantastic Four, Iron Man, the X-Men, everyone else's technology is based on Wakandan technology. So, in other words, the Wakandan technology is the real McCoy, and everyone else's shit is the knockoff. Think about that. Iron Man's suit is the 2-bit knockoff.
And how did that fare against Thanos in the comic?
I don't know. I think he got knocked the fuck out in that trailer. But really, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm so looking forward to seeing Iron Man get knocked the fuck out because Tony Stark is a dick. He's a complete and total dick.
Team Captain America, anyway.
He needs his ass beat. You know, and I wanted him to get his ass beat in Age of Ultron by the Hulk, but no, we can't have the Hulk beat the shit out of Tony Stark. No. So now Thanos is gonna have to give him that ass whooping he needs.
Not until after he beats the living heck out of Spider-Man first.
He's whooping everybody's ass, but there's a scene in the trailer where Tony Stark is sitting there and he's looking up and he has this look on his face like, if you could see his face, you're like, no, 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 no. And Thanos just gets him with a good right. Not even the hand with the gauntlet, just a good right hand in the face. and knocks Iron Man the fuck out, like, like all they needed was some dude with a t-shirt on with a mustard stain on it saying, World Star! Or Smokey from Friday, hey man, you got knocked the fuck out.
But I hear a few fans complaining about Thanos not wearing his traditional armor throughout the fight in Infinity War.
I don't think it matters. I mean, Thanos is so powerful that even without the armor, people are gonna get knocked the fuck out.
Oh yeah, just today I just found this news article from Washington Times complaining about Black Panther lacking any gay characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of a moving the goalposts.
Well, kind of sort of. In the comics, one of the Dora Milaje is a lesbian. But there's so much diversity in this movie that I think that adding another character with another plot line would have been too much. Now, do I think that sometime in the future they need to have a gay character in a Marvel movie that isn't played as, hey, it's a gay character, just like, yeah, he happens to be gay, and keep on moving? Yes, they need to have that character. But this movie wasn't the movie to do it. Although, technically speaking, we've already had 2 movies where there were characters who, if they weren't gay, there were lots of gay people around them. Like Wonder Woman. Yeah. An island with just women. Yeah. And you don't think they have sex drives or libido, and they never leave the island ever?
And how do they make babies? Or are they immortal?
From what I understand in the Wonder Woman mythos, if the Amazon wants to have a child, she leaves the island for a little bit, and she gets pregnant, and then she goes back and has the kid. However, in the case of Diana, aka Wonder Woman, her big thing is that she's the last born Amazon. She's the youngest Amazon on the island. And her father is, if I remember correctly, one of the gods. I think it's Ares. I think. And like she's the youngest Amazon. She's the last Amazon that was born. And like it's this whole thing. Like you know,
kind of like with Superman being the last son of Krypton.
Yeah, well, there technically 2 last sons of Krypton. There's Superman and Brainiac, but basically kind of like that.
I see.
Except Wonder Woman's part god, so take that for whatever you want.
Though I expect.
But anyway.
Though I expect in the second Black Panther movie, they'll probably use the plot line of that lesbian character you mentioned.
They might bring her up. I mean, like, there's so many things you can do with Black Panther as a character. I think almost every part of the movie worked. Like the part of the movie that was him becoming king. Because the entire movie is basically him realizing that being king, like every other king before him, was about upholding the traditions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he comes to the realization, in order for him to be a good king, he has to break those traditions and do something new,
right?
Because them upholding those traditions is what got them into the case of Eric Killmonger.
Exactly.
And so basically he comes to that conclusion, okay, we can't go down this way. Like there's this big scene where in the movie where, you know, he got his ass kicked and was thrown off the waterfall. And he's given the heart-shaped herb, and he's like, he sees his father's like, "You're ready to join us?" He's like, "No, I got shit to do." He's like, "But," he's like, "Yo, you're breaking tradition." It's like, your tradition was wrong, right?
Right.
He realizes he has to find a new way, which in that way, it was one of those things where the villain was actually partially right. Wakandan traditions needed to end.
And people, and I just know that the alt-right is going to be ticked off because they thought that this movie is going to be there's going to be the movie they needed. Yet the main lesson of the movie goes against what they believe in, which is keeping borders closed from the rest of the world to prevent any problems from those countries being brought into their country.
Yeah, and I mean there was a line in the movie where the guy's like, "Yeah, immigrants come here, they bring their problems." It's a very
political situation.
This is a very political movie, even more so than
The Winter Soldier and Civil War.
The Winter Soldier. Well, Civil War was more like very
freedom versus security.
Civil War did a heel turn. It was originally supposed to be about should we let nations have control over superpowered beings versus, and Captain America said, well, I mean, I realize that we do need some form of oversight, but here's the problem. Countries have agendas, and like, what if they make us use us as weapons versus, doing things that we need to do that we know are right versus, just following orders. And it became this dichotomy thing. And then like in the third act, it's just like, okay, Bucky, when he was the Winter Soldier, killed my parents, and fuck him. That's basically what it they never looked at the really harsh questions, which I'll give credit to Civil War, to Winter Soldier over Civil War. Winter Soldier actually did ask the hard questions. Should we give up our security? Should we give up our freedom for security? And that was the whole thing. It was like Captain America's like, no, we're not going to give up our freedom for security. Especially not when we just be giving in to Hydra, which is, the
plot twist.
Well, I mean, Hydra in the Marvel universe is basically superpowered Nazis.
Right.
And that was the plot twist of the movie.
So moving back to DC, Joss Whedon just left productions as director for Batgirl.
Yeah, I heard about that. I mean, some people are like, well, that's a good thing. I'm like, let's look at why they did it, okay? They probably did it because they want to get, they saw what Marvel did with Black Panther and like, shit, we need to get a woman to direct Batgirl. I bet you that's the person they're going to get to handle it.
But they already had a woman director directing the Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and they're going to do it again because they want. Look, here's the thing you have to realize about DC. Okay, everything they've been doing is basically just like, okay, what's Marvel doing? Okay, let's copy that. But copy it badly. It's like someone copying your paper during a test, and they even copy your wrong answers. Like, that's what DC is. They're like, man, not only can we not do well on this test, not only are we stupid, but we're ignorant.
Yeah. And it can be seen while watching throughout those movies that they're clearly rushing to catch up with Marvel.
Mm-hmm. And they don't care how badly things go. They don't care how much they mess things up. They just don't care. They do not care. They give no shits.
And then there's news about Zack Snyder liking the post implying Joss Whedon's Batgirl exit was good news.
Yeah, I think Zack Snyder would say anything at this point. and people forget that the reason the DC Cinematic Universe is in the shape it's in is because of Zack Snyder.
And David Goyer.
And David Goyer. So, like, Zack Snyder needs to be like a rat pissing on cotton.
Hunter, and his idea for character development for Batman is getting raped in prison.
Zack Snyder, the absolute worst person they could have gotten. Oh shit! How's it going, Jewel?
Jewel?
I just dropped in time, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. I guess you haven't seen Black Panther yet.
White Wolf.
You did. What do you think about it?
I'm not sure how much you talked before then, but I'll just say this.
Isn't that supposed to be the movie that's based on how how man and wolf became man's best friend
by Jack Wilde. Yeah.
Good reference.
Yeah. No, we're not talking about that movie with Ethan Hawke, a very young Ethan Hawke. But what do you think about it, Joel?
What a beeping rush!
I know. When I went to see the movie the third time, I saw these little kids, these little black kids with Black Panther action figures. Yeah, and you know, like the little kids watching people who look like them kicking ass. Because when I was a kid, if you wanted to play, like I remember we used to play touch football at recess, and there were like at that time there were almost no black quarterbacks whatsoever. So you'd have to pretend to be, you know, who you knew, and there were no black quarterbacks, so you were just left just doing whatever. And I mean, it's amazing how things have changed for a lot of this. Like young black girls and say, yeah, I can be like Okoye, or any of the many Dora Milaje. I can be like, you know, T'Challa, or hell, they can even be like Killmonger. Although you shouldn't want to.
I was about to say, who the beep wants to be known as killing nearly 100 people in each nation at the minimum.
Well, for me, I would like to be more like Ultron.
I'd rather be ripped like him. I'd rather be ripped like Michael B. Jordan. But
I'd rather be as intellectual as Ultron.
No, he wasn't intellectual.
I was about
Ultron
to say,
was batshit crazy.
where the heck is your sanity?
Yeah, he was batshit crazy. I mean, if I had to be like any of the Marvel characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'd want to be like. I'd rather be like T'Challa, just to keep it real.
And would you be more like Joel?
Probably the sister. After all, she gave some good smack.
I mean, think about it.
And could deliver it too.
T'Challa is highly educated. He's arguably the richest man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe on Earth.
I was about to say, even Tony Stark can't beat that?
Nope. And on a technical level, he's better than most of the other Avengers. Except for maybe the Hulk, but no one in their right mind thinks they're better than the Hulk.
Not to mention that Black Panther is also superior to Batman. Thanks to his vibranium suit and those power-enhancing fruits from the Panther God.
So what I'm saying is,
a little thing I hope that they actually try to recover if they ever do a sequel.
So what I'm saying is this: if I had to be any Marvel character, I'd rather be T'Challa. Yeah, my father died, but I mean, you know, shit happens. I would not want to be Tony Stark. I wouldn't want to have a crippling guilt survivor, a guilty, crippling alcohol addiction, drug addiction.
I was about to say,
and be an asshole.
It's not me to worry about Tony Stark's family issues. I'm worried about his alcoholism.
Yeah, I'm worried about his liver.
I want to be more like Ultron because I want to save the planet through the fastest method possible, which is genocide.
Killing everybody.
You are sick beep.
Except for the plants and animals.
I'm going to save the world by killing everybody. Really?
Yeah, as I said before, you're sick, Pinks.
That's kind of weird, dude.
This is what happens when you've been.
And now I know why you save
Like what lines like Lysander? Why Lysander is the tragic hero?
Yes, because you are as insane as him.
Well, this is what happens when you read too many animal books and read about the current situations they're dealing with, as well as what happened to the Pleistocene, the Ice Age animals.
No, I understand that. I understand where you're coming from, but killing more animals in order to save Lysander is just a bad villain. I don't mean bad as in, man, that's a badass car. I mean bad as in he's just a bad villain. He's like, I'm gonna save the Pokemon. Yeah, but if you use this mega weapon, you're gonna kill other you're gonna kill a Pokemon in the area, including the wild Pokemon that you're trying to save. Details, fuck details.
As I said, he's insane.
Actually, Lysander was going to kill all the Pokemon because he thinks they are the reasons why war exists.
Yeah, just not a good villain. They would have done better making that tall guy who was the ancient king who was cursed, who he finally finds his little fairy type Pokemon and gets his happiness back. They should have made him the fucking villain. He would have been a better villain than Lysander. Or even better, if Lysander had been ranting and raving and Giovanni popped up on him and hit him over the head with a baseball bat and said, okay, you need to shut the fuck up. Get some real villains in here. Okay, guys, new plan. Fuck destroying the world. We're going to hold these Pokemon for ransom and make some money. But I want to have flair. Okay, give me that baseball bat. How's that flair for you?
And since then,
you busted 4 of my ribs. Exactly.
and since then, Lysander has become part of Team Rainbow Rocket.
Yeah, he spends all his time getting hit with a baseball bat by Giovanni. But really, I can be a good villain. Shut up! Shut up! You suck! But
Also, Mr. Red Fox, you were right about Mario being part of a mafia.
I saw that. Was that supposed to be intentionally badly made?
It's the YouTube it's the channel style of Gmod videos.
Just really bad animation.
Yes.
Okay, I was wondering because I was like, man, I like the idea behind it, but that's really shitty.
Yeah, it has a peculiar sense of humor that you have to. It's not up to people's cup of tea.
I mean, listen, man. Whatever makes people happy. I just always thought it would be cool to have a parody where Mario and Luigi are in a mafia, and they just go around like beating up people. You know.
Yeah.
That leads me to tomorrow's special topic for BS Busters: mascot wars, where we describe how the mascots would fight each other.
I thought we were going to be discussing about trashy games that we want to see back.
Yeah, but that's the primary topic. There's always secondary and tertiary topics. But yeah, it's a very interesting. The movie is awesome. Almost all the characters are awesome. There's a lot of setup and payoff, which even here's what people need to understand. Even the Joss Whedon Avengers movies didn't have setup and payoff.
How bad was the setup?
Well, I mean, you had a lot of things in Age of Ultron where there was a setup and no payoff, or there was a payoff with no setup. It's like
Ouch.
Thor pops up to power up the generator to create shit, I forgot his name. Vision. You don't know where the hell he was, what he was doing. They're like, well, Ultron's trying to get these codes to the nuclear launch codes. That goes nowhere. It's a setup that it has no payoff whatsoever. It's like, what the fuck?
Like a pathetic small firework, right?
It's literally like someone saying, hey, I set up these eggs, I put out this flour, I got the sugar, I'm gonna make a cake. Okay, 3 days later, hey, where's that cake? I didn't make it. I'm never gonna make that cake. I put the eggs back up. I put the sugar back up. I put the flour back. It's like, well, damn, why'd you do all that if you wasn't gonna make a cake?
Not to mention very little payoff to foreshadow the events of Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, there was very little, that's the problem with Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon is capable, but I think the Avengers was just too big of a project for him. I mean, just keeping it real. I think the Russo brothers, because there's two of them doing everything, have a much more of an eye for setup and payoff.
Right, because looks like the MCU is going to be under the hands of both the Russo brothers and James Gunn from this day forward.
James Gunn. I love that shit. Yeah. So where can we go from here? So in Infinity War, we know at least two people are going to die. At least. Permanently.
Place your bets, folks.
I expect Vision to die because he's the bearer of the Mind Stone.
Yeah, but they'll probably bring him back somehow. They'll probably give him a new power source or some shit. And they'll pull a Wally where they reboot him. He's like, I don't know, and he gets hugged by Wanda. And he's like, he comes back, some shit like that, Right. I think Thor's gonna die, but here's the cool thing about Thor, right? When Thor dies, his power doesn't go away. So I think his new hammer is gonna he's gonna die. His new hammer's gonna fall to the ground, and then at the end of the movie, you're gonna see some random guy with a limp probably pick up the hammer and become the new Thor.
That's how it works in the comics.
Yeah, that was the original Thor. The original Thor comics was not Thor doing all that shit. It was this professor who was judged worthy. He could pick up Mjolnir, and when it turned into a cane, and when you tap it 3 times on the ground, he turned into Thor. It would turn into the hammer, he turned into Thor. So I mean, if Thor dies, I mean, I like Chris Hemsworth, but it's time for I'm pretty sure he
can retire in joy.
Yeah, because someone else could take up that mantle, but I think Iron Man might die. They might kill him off. They might kill off Iron Man. Either that or Hawkeye, but I don't want to see Hawkeye.
I was going to say, Hawkeye's the most likely with how he's the least protected, as far as I know, among heroes.
In Age of Ultron, there was a foreshadow that he might die in that movie, but instead it was Quicksilver.
Yeah, well, it was a fake out because they were like, he's like, yeah, you follow him home. He's got this family. He's got kids. They're like, yeah, his wife is pregnant. It's like, man, he's gonna die. The only thing he needs to say is, after this, I'm gonna retire, and me and the wife are gonna buy a sailboat and sail around the world. Sail around the world. I'm like, shit, man, you dead.
That's a trap.
You did, man. but they faked it out because they killed Quicksilver, which is kind of sad. But
they had to because legal Fox reasons at the time.
At the time, yeah. But I mean, here's the thing: that's a character who could have been friggin' awesome because in the comics, Quicksilver has this really weird relationship with his sister where it's like he's way too into his sister. It's like other people on the team like, are you sure you two are fucking?
Are you sure that's only in the Ultimate version?
No. In the original comics with Quicksilver and Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, their relationship is like the way he acts around his sister is almost like it's borderline almost incestuous is what I'm saying. Like it's borderline like he puts way too much attention. Like she doesn't see him that way, but the way he acts around her is kind of like
I can't stand incest. It's both morally and evolutionarily
abnormal.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying it's kind of. But I mean, they don't need to go that dark. What I'm saying is that they could easily.
I was going to say we already got Fire Emblem for some of that WTF stuff.
And Game of Thrones and pretty much recent slice of life anime like SAO and Eromanga Sensei.
Well, I mean, they're all types of
WTFs.
Well, I mean, listen, it is what it is. I'm not gonna judge that. I'm just simply saying in the comics they almost it doesn't get to that point, but it's like this is a little too close for siblings. You get what I'm saying? It's like they're a little, especially Quicksilver. He's way too
nice.
Pietro is not nice. Pietro is way too yeah. He's way too overprotective of his sister. And animes can make that joke. Like there's this anime called Psyche K. That's about this guy who's like a super psychic, and this girl has a crush on him, and her brother is like a soap opera star, and he has kind of like that whole concept with his sister where he's kind of like way too overprotective, and it's almost kind of creepy. But it hasn't gotten to that point. But it's done humorously. My point is, it's kind of like that. It's kind of weird. Just a little creepy. Just a little creepy.
Right.
But anyway, yeah. So in the future, I think they might kill off Iron Man because. I mean, look. I don't know if he dies, but I know he gets knocked the fuck out by in the movie.
And
he's gonna at least lose most of his armor by the time he's done with that movie.
I don't know, but he gets knocked the fuck out. No.
As I said, he's gonna lose most of the armor by the movie's end because he's gonna be knocked out of it.
And here's the hoping it's not gonna be Riri Williams replacing him as the new Iron Man.
I mean, it doesn't really matter who replaces him because here's the thing: we have a character who fills the Iron Man role better than Tony Stark can. T'Challa. I mean, think about it. They both have awesome suits of armor that can do awesome things, but unlike Tony Stark, who almost every single fucked up thing that happens in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Tony either intentionally or inadvertently causes. I mean, think about it, okay? The original Iron Man, the whole catalyst for him doing all this is the weapons his company made. Like he's hit with the weapons his company makes. The second movie, he taunts a guy who's already kind of unhinged, but taunts the entire world. Then acts surprised when shit goes wrong. In the third movie, it's a dude who he fucked with when he was younger. And then, I mean, Avengers, Tony Stark talking shit, starting shit, talking shit. Avengers 2, he creates Ultron. He fucking creates Ultron himself. He creates Ultron. Like, what I'm saying is that in Civil War, I'm just going to agree. Look, the Sokovia Accords would work if only one person signed them, Tony Stark. Because no one else has fucked up as much as Tony Stark has in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, Captain America.
I was going to say,
remember that time?
Have you seen the laundry list of mistakes he made?
That's what I'm saying. It's just all these majorly. I mean, hell, even in Age of Ultron, the only reason Wanda and Pietro side with Ultron is because of some shit Tony Stark did. I mean, it's like, damn, dude. The only person who needs to be.
Oh, and let's not forget that Tony Stark was the reason why the Vulture exists.
Yeah, just a lot of bad decisions. What I'm saying is that if anyone needs to have oversight, it's Tony Stark. Like, no, you can't do that. But I'm Iron Man. Yeah, sit your ass down. But I am Iron Man. So yeah, I think, like, here's the thing. Like, I think anyone could wear that mantle. Hell, they could have Rhodey wear the mantle of Iron Man. He's done it before in the past. They could have the black girl from Harlem, or is it Oakland? I forget where she's from. I think it's Harlem. They could have her be a new Iron Man. At this point, anyone, hell, they could get some bum off the streets. He'd probably do a better job than Tony Stark as Iron Man.
And continuing on the list of characters who might die, I expect Captain America to die, and Bucky to replace him, like in the comics.
Yeah. Captain America could die, and they could get Bucky to replace him. That'd be cool. It won't be the same because Chris Evans is so good as Captain America. It's ridiculous. But yeah. Captain America and the Avengers. They will not kill the Hulk because people love the Hulk.
He's too good.
Yeah. Although they could, I mean, and if things get too intense with Thanos, they can always just have the Hulk beat the shit out of him. Because it's the Incredible Hulk. And
we can expect Black Widow to live because she still has a movie being made.
Yeah, and they'll probably have Ant-Man there. See, I almost wish Infinity War had another year in the cooker, so that they could add the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, because it doesn't make sense in this larger Marvel universe to not have the Fantastic Four and the X-Men fighting this world-ending threat.
Of course, we can now expect them to appear in Phase 4 of the MCU.
Which is good. Hopefully we'll get a good Fantastic Four movie.
Eventually.
Because Fox sure as hell hasn't done anything to try and get good Fantastic Four movies.
I was going to say, when have they?
Well, the first one from that guy was pretty good.
Oh, you mean the one that was unreleased?
No. Well, the first one had a lot of heart. I'll give it that. The one by Tim Story, the one that had the messed up Doctor Doom. But here's the thing: we thought that was a terrible Doctor Doom. My God, that was the best Doctor Doom that went to movie theaters, because that Doctor Doom from that piece of shit.
The 2005 one.
Fantastic Four stick. Yeah. Fantastic Four stick from Josh Trank. I mean, damn. I mean, Of
course, they gotta implement them quick because, from what I've read, movie genre fads last about 20 years, 10 or 20 years before they start dying off.
I think they could still. I think the superhero genre could still kind of go. They just have to do what. Like, you can't do what DC's been doing, which is it's a superhero film. It's a superhero film. It's a superhero film. I think in order for it to continue to be good, I would think you'd have to do something like
branching off to different genres.
Yeah, like it's a superhero film, but it's a spy film. It's an adventure film. It's a western. Like,
you gotta mix it up.
Yeah,
which Marvel has been doing for the past few years.
Yeah.
Though, one thing I just realized. Which superhero would have a horror movie?
Swamp Thing, the Man Thing, first, or Blade.
Ghost Rider.
And then there's Cloak and Dagger, who is already getting their own TV show.
Yeah, Ghost Rider would be a good
candidate for the horror genre.
For a horror genre, yeah. Because it's dark and gritty. And dark and gritty. It's dark and gritty and dark and gritty. It's got demons and monsters and shit.
The only thing we don't want to see is jump scares.
Yeah, I was about to say no, but then I was like, yeah, I'm tired of jump scares. It's so damn lazy.
Amen to that.
What about a full-on comedy genre? Probably with Squirrel Girl.
I guess kind of, but the thing is that Squirrel Girl seems like it would be a comedy, but she's astonishingly badass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the joke character.
If Dan Hibiki was actually good, he'd be good as Squirrel Girl at least.
Like Squirrel Girl is astonishingly badass. She's the character who beat the shit out of Wolverine. Beat the shit out of him.
The most popular character of the X-Men, beaten by squirrels.
Beat the shit out of him. Well, I mean, the thing is that Squirrel Girl is actually really powerful. Like, you wouldn't think she is, but she is. She's actually astonishingly powerful.
To be honest with you, I was confused of how the heck is she good enough to be recruited by Spider-Man of all characters?
Well, Squirrel Girl can glide. Her claw attacks are actually, she can actually shred adamantium. So the whole Wolverine, my skeleton's covered with adamantium, doesn't do shit. She's one of the few people, like, she had to go out and track and catch Wolverine, and she did, and took no casualties. So she, like, here's the thing, everyone's like, oh man, Squirrel Girl, like, her powers seem lame until you see her actually work. It's the reason why I was like, man, they could have made Aquaman into a really great thing, but then they turned it into the shitty Zack Snyder shit.
I'm sorry.
I mean, everyone keeps on thinking that
Aquaman. I think of the lamest of heroes of all time.
Well, that's the thing. Aquaman's actually pretty badass, but it's like no one knows how to do it properly. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like no one gives it the.
Nobody knows how to use water-based superheroes properly.
Yeah.
Probably why we won't see a Zan and Jace movie anytime soon.
I don't know.
Just guessing.
Although we might see a film about DC will probably come up with their Aquaman film, and then Marvel will be like, hey man, we're gonna do a Namor film and make the shit work.
Yeah, because I remember they were thinking of doing a Thunderbolts movie, depending on how well the Suicide Squad movie performed in the movie.
Yeah, that piece of shit. Oh, here's some news about the financial information about Black Panther. Since we're talking about
movies,
it's still number one in the box office.
Financial info about Black Panther. I'm looking it up right now. Because it's some really interesting information.
Who wants to predict this hit 2 weeks of wins?
I think it's going to be 3 weeks of wins because it came out. Okay, so here it is. Disney and Marvel's Black Panther surpassed 500 million at the global box office 1 week after debuting in the United States. That's global, but you can't go by global because the ratio, the ticket sales, like here in America, it's like 70% of the ticket goes back to the studio. In other countries, overseas, it's like 50-50, or even in China, it's like 30-70. So like if they say, if a company says, oh, it made its money back, it made 200 million overseas, really that's like 70 million overseas, and that's still not a good number. But domestically, it made 292 million in 1 week.
Impressive.
Yeah, as Darth Vader would say, impressive, most impressive. So basically, right now it's sitting at 520.1 million worldwide, 292 million US theaters. So it definitely made its budget back. If not made it back, close to it, because I want to say they spent maybe 300 million. Like if you include marketing. And here's the thing: China, Japan, and Russia, it's yet to open there.
And what day should we expect them? Should we expect the movie to come out in those countries?
I don't know, but if it does 75% as well there as it's doing here, it's gonna do very well. So here's the overall thing. The number one grossing superhero movie of all time, the debut, is The Avengers at 207 million. Okay. Black Panther is right behind it at 201. So basically, the number one solo superhero film is Black Panther. It beat out Captain America Civil War, Iron Man 3, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, or as I like to call it, Shithole, the movie. The Dark Knight Rises, The Dark Knight, Spider-Man 3, Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Is that
It's the number one solo movie of all time thus far.
I was going to say that's all. That's the top 10 because
that's the top 10. Yeah. So basically, in other words, Black Panther came in like Rick James from the Chappelle Show and grinded its feet in the couch of all these other films. It was like, fuck your couch, fuck your couch, fuck your couch.
Or the more hilarious case, this image I found of Black Panther sitting on a cardboard box, a tiny cardboard box, with the phrase, if it fits, he sits.
Basically, what I'm saying is this. Fuck your couch. fuck your couch. Just fuck your couch.
How about I hold my beer?
Well, I saw a video where this lady is like, well, the reason Black Panther is doing well is because Wonder Woman did so well. And I'm like, bitch, we can't have shit, can't we? We can't have nothing.
Is it beyond the trailer? This woman.
No. It was the little podcast that John Campea does.
Oh.
And some of his panelists, like one of his panelists, well, the reason it's doing so well is because of Wonder Woman. I'm like, no, it's not. This movie could have came out before Wonder Woman, and it would have done really well. I don't think Wonder Woman had anything to do with Black Panther doing well. Because, like I said, Wonder Woman is what Man of Steel should have been, but Zack Snyder was the wrong person to direct Man of Steel. So, whatever. So now you have a character that's not really their thing.
And there was another podcast I saw claiming that Black Panther is the first step of SJW Marvel coming to the MCU.
What?
Yeah, it's that ridiculous. It's getting really tired.
I'm sorry, but I think my mind's starting to blue screen. Can someone reboot me and tell me what the beep was that?
Sorry, let me just say this. Let me just put this down here. First of all, for the people who are like, okay, it's okay, look. Can we deny that Black Panther has a political message and agenda behind the film? No, I can't.
I was about to say,
no one in the right mind can deny that. But here's the thing. Most importantly, you can have films that have a message behind it. Okay? The film is also good. Okay? Which is something that a lot of films that have a message don't have behind them. Like a lot of films, this film is to raise consciousness about the plight of caged chickens. Okay, that's cool, but the film sucks. Well, it's about the message.
No.
Really?
If your movie has a terrible story, then that means it's terrible overall.
The message does not, like, Black Panther is a good film. The fact that it also has a message is also a good thing. Because film is an art. Yes, you're making a product, but it's also an art, like books or painting or singing. Like, you know, like,
you gotta have quality behind the product.
art is there to elevate the human experience, right?
Right.
Like it's not just there just to be, that's the purpose of art, right? It's the reason why when you go to a comedy show, yeah, the best comedians not only tell funny jokes, but they also talk about the human condition, right? And they basically force you to look at, well, this is just fucking ridiculous. That's the purpose of comedy. It's the reason why satire and irony is important. Now, people, like, I remember someone sued somebody who was mocking this guy, and they were like, well, how could you do that? It's like, but you're a public figure. And if you don't want to be mocked, don't do things that are mock worthy. And if you don't want to be satirized, don't do things that are satirical, that are worth satirizing. That's it. I mean, it's really simple, I mean, you don't see anyone satirizing MLK, do you?
No, because that would be offensive.
Well, because I don't think he did anything that was really mock worthy. I mean, you could say, well, he messed around on his wife, but let me tell you something. As someone who came from the Southern Baptist preacher tradition, a lot of Southern preachers dicking around on their wives. That goes with the course, really. It'd be weird if you didn't see that these days, unfortunately. But that's neither here nor there. So here's what else I can say. Basically, I mean, what else can we say, folks? I mean, it's really good.
And we highly recommend it to watch it for everyone.
Yes. Watch it or else we will find you. I'm gonna be like Liam Neeson. I will find you. I have a specific set of skills. I will find you. Actually, I won't. I don't really care, but go watch it. Elevate your consciousness.
Your soul will thank you for it.
Yeah. See black women wearing their natural hair and looking good, not being over sexualized.
And yet bad too.
Yeah. Not being over sexualized, but still really attractive. I was like, man, you better marry Lupita Nyong'o. You better marry that girl, that fine ass woman.
It took the entire movie to do that.
You better do it, son.
Before we end this podcast, I should mention one more sci-fi related news. The Bayformers series is now canceled. So no Transformers.
The Transformers from Michael Bay have been canceled?
Thank God. Oh God.
They're now starting all over.
Yeah, well, they have to reboot it because Michael Bay destroyed the continuity.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Which means no Unicron.
Sorry.
Hopefully this time we can get Unicron and the Autobots and Decepticons actually acting like Autobots and Decepticons, and a story that makes fucking sense, and Transformers that look like Transformers, and not whatever the fuck that was in those movies.
And there's questions whether or not the Bumblebee movie is going to be the start of the new Transformers reboot or not. Or its own standalone film. Or still part of Transformers.
You want to know a Transformers movie I would watch? A Starscream movie.
To see the relationship between him and Megatron, how he gained his interest in trying to overthrow Megatron to be the new leader of the Decepticons.
Well, if they took it back to Cybertron, because here's the thing that people don't understand, right? The Transformers are old as fuck, okay? They're old. Like, Starscream used to be an Autobot, okay?
Which is kind of surprising.
Well, all of them. Basically, they were all just Transformers, okay? They were all just regular Transformers. And then Megatron basically created. He found his way to Unicron, and he found the Dark Spark, which basically created Dark Energon, which corrupts Transformers. And basically, the Dark Energon created the Decepticons. It's a basically Unicron created a virus that essentially corrupted the Transformers and created Decepticons. The Transformers that weren't corrupted became the Autobots. And believe it or not, Starscream was manning this observation post, and it was overrun by Decepticons, and he was corrupted, and he became a Decepticon. Yeah, and Megatron actually tried to help. Well, he tricked a young clerk named Orion Pax into showing him the Energon deposits, and then shot him in the face after he stole all of it.
Some gratitude.
That young clerk was repaired. His face couldn't be fixed. They had to put a mask on him, and he took a new name, Optimus Prime. That's right. But did we get that fucking story? No, because Michael Bay just fucking explosions and bad racist jokes and jigaboo bots. I hate to call them that, but what jigaboo bots. Fucking jigaboo bots.
I think
why not? What about
from that mind blown?
Why not racist alien ninja explosions?
Well, it's Michael Bay. I wouldn't put anything beyond it. Basically, Michael Bay was just a symptom. Like, here's the thing: you can have a movie that uses like Black Panther proved it. You can have a movie that uses comics or toys as a plot line and still tell a relevant story that's well directed. Like the days of Michael Bay, hey man, shit exploded good. Hey, let me take this camera and shove it up this lady's dress so we can see her ass. Really? We don't need that anymore. So thank God that shit is done. Anything anyone wants to pimp out before we wrap things up?
Well, that's about it in terms of the sci-fi power outage. But I do have some articles I could discuss about for tomorrow's BS Busters.
Okay, well, we'll save them. Yeah, we'll save them for tomorrow. But that being said, I mean, that's the end of that. So I guess we can now do our pimp outs and then wrap things up. So I'll let Jewel go first since she entered in the last.
Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for enjoying the show. I'm Jewel Writer Eli Moonstar, and I'm glad to see that movie. And oh man, I'm hoping that I can see it again. It'll be soon enough.
And this is Pedophile from Video Game Facts. Currently, I just recently posted a few days ago. I just posted an article celebrating 25 years of Star Fox.
Do a barrel roll. People forget his other really good line. It's quiet, too quiet.
It's an ambush.
It's a trap.
Never give up. Trust your instincts.
Yeah. You're just like your father. Thanks a lot, asshole. My dad's dead.
Oh, and no support.
But yeah. So I guess it's up to me. This was Red Fox. We did a spoiler-tastic review of Black Panther. So if you watched it, listen to this podcast from the beginning, and you'll basically hear how much we loved it and what we thought about it. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it. And if you haven't seen it and don't give a shit about spoilers, listen to the podcast anyway. So with that being said, good night, arrivederci, and peace.
Enjoy some good juice too.